Today our lesson is about typography, and you are going to be creating 4 different animals using only letters. So here's an example from the webpage of a student's artwork. This is a frog. You can see little eyes coming out of his feet. Killer whale. Can kind of make out either a V or a W right through here. And notice on this scorpion the tail is made of D's. So you can use exclamation points or parentheses or anything you can find on your keyboard. I'm going to be showing you how to set up your workspace and to begin the project. Then I'm going to let you just work on it on your own to create your animals. So you're going to make a new document. Make sure you call it animals with your initials at the end. And 8.5 by 11 inches is what you want, and hit OK. Now I'm immediately going to change my background to show grid just to get that set so I can see when I'm sending to front and back. And I'm going to get a square tool, double click, and make sure I give it a measurement of 3 inches by 3 inches, and hit OK. Now there's my square. We're going to need 4 squares for yours. So just give a option drag until you have 4 squares set up for your animals. And we're going to make one more square down here at the bottom, and this is going to be the one that I demonstrate inside of. You can do the demonstration along with me and then create your own designs up here at the top. So before we begin, let's drag around all the boxes with our black arrow and make sure that our boxes are not a white fill but no fill. And then we're just going to go Object, Lock, Selection. And now we're ready to start our demonstration. So we're going to be using our T tool mainly, just our regular T tool, and all of the entire assignment is just basically getting to know your fonts and playing around with letters and using them in a very unique and creative way. So before we begin, I like to zoom in to each box as I work on it. Right now I can barely see the tiny little space there. So I'm going to get my magnifying glass and just drag the magnifying glass around the box you're going to be working in. Now it's nice and big. If I wanted to go back to fit on screen, I can easily go back where I was, or I can just kind of scroll around using the ball on my mouse. So we're going to make a bird for the demonstration animal, and I'm going to start by getting my T tool, and I'm just going to come into my box and click one time. I'll see my little blinking cursor come up, and I'm going to start with a capital T, and this T is going to become a perch for my bird to sit on. Now I can get my black arrow and I can notice that it gives you a bounding box right here, and if I hold my shift key down and drag from the corner, I can make that T really big or really small. And with my black arrow I can also move it around. I'm going to make it even a little bit bigger. Nice big T here. Okay, now I didn't even change the font. It was already in Myramid Pro, which was fine for that section. Now we're going to start making a bird body. And the body is going to be, I don't know, maybe a little more fluffy, a little more interesting of a font. So I'm going to start by taking my T tool, click once, I've got my blinking cursor, and I'm going to do a capital O. Now that's a pretty boring O, so I'm going to highlight that right away and go Type, Font, and I'm going to scroll down till I see something a little more rugged and interesting. I'm going to do Bradley Hand. Now if you don't have this font on your computer, just use something similar. Great, so that's a little bit more rugged, and when I zoom in, make it bigger, it's actually kind of feathery like a bird's body, so that's a perfect font for this bird. I'm going to put it right down on the perch, and now I need to make a head for the bird, and since that letter worked so well, I'm going to stick with the same font. I'm going to click once with my T tool, now just a lowercase o. Obviously too small, so go back to my black arrow and make that bigger. Now this is an interesting shape. I could put it on right like that, but I think I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to come out to the corner and just rotate that. So it's more like the bird's looking up. I think that's got a better shape to it. And this is all kind of your own aesthetic, what you think looks good. And we're just going to keep building from here. So I'm going to need a beak next. So I'm going to get my T tool, click once, type, I'm going to do a capital V. That's a pretty good V too, but I'm going to change this font to something a little bit more unique. Let's try, oh, it's good to get some variety in here. This Harrington looks really interesting. It could be bad, but we'll try it and see. Oh, it's got a little curl to it. I kind of like that. So I'm going to take that V and let's make it bigger. Hold my shift key, make it nice and big. And I'm going to rotate it. And I'm going to go stick that right on the bird's face. Unfortunately, you can't really see that curl, but I kind of like the shape of the beak, so that'll be just fine. Okay, now I'm going to go back in and make his eye. And to make it more expressive, I'm going to click my T tool, type a capital O. It's got a little curl in there too. And I'm going to do another O. So I'm going to click again, do a lowercase o. Ooh, that's nice. It doesn't have the curl. And now I can double these up. So I'm going to put one inside of the other. Kind of makes a googly eye effect. It almost looks like an eyelash, so that was a good choice. Now I grab those together, shift drag to keep them proportionate. And now I can just put that right in his head. It's still kind of big, so I'm going to shrink that some more and move it up a bit, and that is going to be the bird's eye. Okay, so I'm just going to do 2 or 3 more things here, and everyone has a different bird design concept here, but I'm going to make a wing, so I'm going to type a W. And I think I like that font, so I'm going to leave it like that. Make it a little bigger, tilt it a bit, and then I'm going to put that right inside his body, like a wing. Okay, and I think I might even just, this might get kind of gaudy here, but I'm going to borrow that little wing. I'm going to turn this the other direction, and I'm just going to duplicate this several times, see if it looks like a nice big poofy tail. Like a parrot tail, kind of tapering down. About like that. So now he's got a tail, a wing, eyes, and the last 2 things we're going to do are, I'm going to get a T tool, sorry, not it, the letter T. I'm going to do letter Y. Now this is not the Y I'm looking for. I'm going to drag, and I'm going to go type font. I think I'm going to go back to my Bradley hand that I had for the body. Yeah, that's a good Y. And I'm just going to make this a little decorative feather on his head. Kind of like a little tassel on the bird's head. Very fancy bird here. And I also think that shape might make a really good foot. So I'm going to drag that foot down over here and rotate it again. And duplicate it one more time, so it looks like he's kind of grabbing his perch a little bit further there. Okay, so that's my example bird. Now I would recommend that you drag around the whole thing and probably want to group it once you're done so that the pieces don't fall apart. And so to group it, went Object, Group, and then I'm going to hold my Shift key and make it really fit in the space. So we want to really see each of your animals kind of front and center. So don't go outside the box of those, but make it fit the box really well. So now when I go back down here to fit on screen, I've got my example animal, and your job is to create 4 more animals using your T tool, working with fonts, and practicing all of the technique we've learned so far. So good luck and have fun.